national help as it struggles to tackle some of the worst flooding in its recent history. Hundreds of people have been killed and many are still missing. The overall death toll from devastating floods and landslides across the south of Asia has risen to around 900. Emma Brigham is the UNICEF representative in Sri Lanka and she joins me now from Colombo. Hi there, Emma. Thank you so much for your time today. As we've just said, upwards of 200 people killed in Sri Lanka alone, 900 across the region. It's pretty difficult to understand the scale of this weather event, but are you able to give us a bit of an idea of the situation facing Sri Lanka right now?
Yes, thank you. So to be honest, we're still trying to figure out the situation ourselves here on the ground. The government has been very focused on search and rescue efforts, the Navy being deployed, communities across the country trying to help people escape from rising floodwaters and from landslides that have affected lots of homes across the country. We're hoping that the rivers around Colombo will begin to recede today, and then we can switch from search and rescue to actually trying to understand the scale of the impact across the island and what people need in order to be able to return home, to return to their livelihoods, etc. But the scale does seem enormous. The cyclone itself landing on top of a lot of rainwater that had come in the preceding week had meant that many reservoirs and rivers were already at high levels when, of course, more rain arrived with Cyclone Ditwa. So a really concerning situation across the island.
Absolutely, and these pictures that we're seeing, it's almost unfathomable how much water there is around. Is there any information about how many people are still trapped or missing?
So the figures that I had last night was that around still 200 people are missing across the country. Of course, the number may be higher or lower because connectivity issues are still affecting communications across the island. But we expect that it's somewhere in that vicinity of 200 people. There have been just over 200 deaths, unfortunately, as well. And again, as communications reconnect, we're concerned that that number will rise higher. The government has in place over 1,000 safety centres where people have been relocated to. And obviously, as UNICEF, we want to make sure that children and families are safe there, that they have access to the supplies and the support that they need while they are in those safety centres.
Yeah, take me through what it is that UNICEF is doing and is able to do on the ground right now.
So fortunately, we have staff who are based anyway in different locations across the island. So we've been in regular contact with them and they're obviously providing support to the authorities in those different locations, some of which have been cut off, to be quite honest. So we haven't been able to get supplies in or out. As UNICEF, we are coordinating obviously very closely with the government authorities, with other UN agencies to make sure that the support that we provide reaches those who are most in need. And we know that it's a difficult time for the humanitarian community, so we need to make sure that all the support we have goes as far as it can. We're concerned that children and families in these shelters or who have been relocated from their homes or who have lost livelihoods and belongings, that they receive the support that they need. We have pre-positioned nutrition supplies because we know that nutrition is already a concerning issue here in Sri Lanka, and we're concerned that it might rise higher. And also many schools have been impacted. So very initial indications are that there may be up to 1,000 schools that have been severely damaged by the floodwaters and the high winds. And obviously we want to make sure that children can return to school as soon as is safely possible.
Emma, as you said, a difficult time for the aid community at the moment with cuts to aid groups around the world. What is it in terms of international support that UNICEF is calling for here?
So UNICEF is calling for international support, essentially. Again, we're still trying to work out what the scale and numbers involved are. So we will be working with our other UN counterparts to put together a humanitarian appeal for additional support. And we'll have those numbers ready in the next day or so once again the scale and the number of children and families becomes clear.
All right, Emma Brigham, there, the UNICEF representative in Sri Lanka. Thanks so much for the details. Really appreciate your time.